I think the short answer is that it's here to stay. Like it's not going anywhere. The staying power and the use cases for AI in medicine and in healthcare in general are plenty, and there will be applications for it. On the flip side of that, though, is I will say that there are a lot of people that are very quick to say, we're an AI company. We do AI. And then when you dig a little bit deeper and you ask them, what does that mean? They can't answer that question. And so to me, it's right now we're seeing in the marketplace basically two different ways of companies approaching how to use AI. And you've got legacy systems and legacy companies that were never built to be able to leverage AI in the right ways. And they're trying to figure out how to bolt on AI tools into their existing legacy software. And then on the flip side, you have companies that are AI native, that are building with AI first. And they're saying, this is going to be a core component of how we build our applications. And so while both of those are maybe two ways of trying to tackle the problem, I think the ones that will win, and I believe this about all technology, whether it's healthcare, whether it's AI, whether it's anything else, is the people that understand the problems of their users. So rather than going out and trying to find a solution in search of a problem, when you go out and you try to find a problem and say, I have a solution. And one of those solutions might be AI. One of them might be machine learning. Another one might be OCR, optical character recognition. One might be a workflow tool. One might be a giant database. It's not going around, and this is where I think some of the challenges come up, is when people go with a solution in search of a problem. And what we feel strongly about what we've built and the way that we've tried to think about how AI is used in healthcare is saying, let's go identify the problems and then use the right solution to try and solve those problems.
I think the hype is real on it. Like I just think of, outside of healthcare, it's totally changed how I do application development. It's totally changed a lot of personal things I use, just ChatGPT all the time for all different things. So absolutely, the hype is real. I would say it's in healthcare and in a lot of areas, it's probably more like that quote of, hey, you might overestimate what you can do in a year, but you're going to underestimate what you're going to do in a decade, right? And I think it's going to change things a lot. With healthcare, given we have these existing workflows, existing infrastructure, existing EMRs that we need to work with, like you need to figure out how do you fit in there? How are you actually a solution for an existing problem rather than a solution in search of a problem, like Andrew said here. So yeah, I think it's absolutely going to change a lot of things. It's helpful in a lot of ways as we've talked to different providers and understanding where it can be helpful to them. But there's going to be a lot of hype along the way as well.
Well, Alex, I'll give this question back to you. You mentioned your personal use of AI. I think we've all played with ChatGPT or Gemini or Grok.
Yeah.
So how is healthcare AI different? Like, what are some different hurdles that you experience in healthcare?
I think one way that healthcare AI is different than everyday AI is, again, you have to be concerned about the privacy, the sensitivity of that data. How is it going to sort of get in there? How are you going to get it out of existing systems to use it? It's not just like ChatGPT where I can go and paste in whatever I want, right? You have to be concerned about facial privacy and all sorts of things. You also need to be a lot more concerned with accuracy. You're talking about life and death decisions here, where it's not like me going to figure out how to fix my dishwasher on ChatGPT or even like what I should make for dinner. It's like this is a more serious thing. So you need to be concerned with accuracy, with hallucinations, how you ground everything you're doing in truth, and also educate providers around, hey, here's what you can expect in reality on this. Here's how you can use it well, while also making sure they're making their own decisions. They're doing their own research on different things as well.
So you mentioned hallucinations. You mentioned just hesitation in general about AI adoption. What would you say to someone in healthcare that is scared of these things and is just not like they're not going to adopt any AI solutions? And Andrew, feel free to jump in. You guys both take this one. But what would you say to that person?
I think it's reasonable to be concerned about hallucinations and think about that stuff. So understand, again, where are you using the AI in your process? And maybe it's part of a workflow ingestion tool, again, where new doctors are coming in, you're sort of doing some parsing to save some manual labor up on the front end, but it's not actually affecting patient decision. It's getting into the EMR, making it easier for your support staff there. That's great. If you are using it for summarization, as we're helping doctors do, again, understanding the trade-offs of this, if there's something you need to look up and reference against the actual documents, they can do that themselves. We'll try and point out where it came from, but again, the doctors need to reference that as well and make sure they have ground truth there.
I think a lot of it comes back to a trust but verify, and this is something we've said from Docology from the very beginning, is our goal is not to replace the physician. It's not our job to diagnose what somebody has or what they should do with the information that we give them. What we want to do is make it easier to find the information. and easier to source that information and be able to say, we found this on page 11 in paragraph 3 of your referral packet, and be able to find that information much more quickly. Because we don't believe, I mean, I'll say this here today. I mean, the world will change in the future, I'm sure, but we don't believe that there are models out there that should be diagnosing patients. That's not where we're at yet. So we should have models, and we should have tools that make it more efficient to find the information and allow physicians to practice at the highest of their capabilities, and not be hunting and searching around documents.
In building doxology, do you have to do anything different to account for these kind of risks? Do you build anything into the application?
But all this is from the kind of the business perspective for a second, and then we can get into the technical side a little bit. Is one, it's what we found in almost every, if not every practice that we've been in, is that somebody in the office is using an AI tool. They're using a ChatGPT, they're using a Gemini, they're using something, and they're saying, we're not using it with patient data, but people are human and people make mistakes. And whether you're using it on Copilot or whatever tool you're using, it's being used. So let's find a way to do it in a HIPAA compliant way. Let's find a way to do it where it's secure and it's safe. Let's find a way for you to be able to leverage the tools and the technology that is out there and exists, but in a way that protects not only the physician and the nurse, but the practice and the entire group from making a mistake. And so one of the things that was really important to us is to sit down early on and understand what's the implications of PHI and personal data and HIPAA data, and where do we store it, where do we not store it, what are the ways that we use that, and then having BAs in place and having different methods in place with the different models that we use and the providers that we work with to make sure that we're all protected.
Yep, absolutely. Yeah, we have a number of techniques that we work with technically just to, avoid hallucinations, limit hallucinations, and just making sure we're presenting an accurate picture to our doctors, right? And as we sort of develop this, we've been working very closely with Dr. New on his patients to make sure he's understanding these correctly, that we can go and say, hey, is it hallucinating? Are you finding inaccuracies in this? So it's something we test very thoroughly. We have a lot of checks within our system to make sure, hey, that's coming back to ground truth and not hallucinating like you might see in other areas.